Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the XP Zone. Long awaited. We took a week off. We did some work. Obviously, we look a little bit different than the last frame and shots of the other episode. It was very needed. Basketball season's been going crazy, and this has been an episode worth waiting for today. I'm here with my good buddy, one of the best bros I've ever had.
I don't know about that.
You're up there. You up there. I have like a whole, just huge straight tie of so many people because
Well, okay, then.
I can't choose. I'm not going to put people over people. That's awful.
Yeah, I mean, not during the podcast, but I mean, off podcast, you can probably say, like, hey, your number this, which, in a way, I think I'm top
You're up
3.
there. You're up there.
I don't know. That's me saying it. I might be top 15, and I'm number 14. Who knows?
Well, it is the man, Layne Hedge. Layne, how you feeling today?
Hey, I'm feeling great. I mean, like I said earlier, long awaited. I mean, I think we talked about this for
A long time. If you go back to Ethan Thoughts, a long time.
yeah.
You've been one of my earliest supporters of my content creation journey.
Yeah.
From Ethan's Thoughts to streaming, you have been there since the beginning, which is why it's so awesome.
What'd you do first? You streamed first and then you did podcast. Yeah.
Wait.
No,
I did the podcast first. Ethan's Thoughts. I started in the fall of 2022.
okay. Because I remember. Yeah. Well, you did a stream. No, you streamed.
I streamed like casually,
Yeah.
but it wasn't until January of 2023 where I
yes,
really took off trying to stream.
because I was at Zero's apartment and we were watching, I think, some type of conference championship, and he's out. I mean, he usually every Sunday afternoon when we after church, he would crash all the time, and I'm like, it's just me. And I think I had a notification saying like you were streaming. I'm like, oh, I never watched one of his streams. Whatever. You probably don't know. Here's a little test. Let's see if you know your stuff.
Okay.
Around that time when you were diehard, streaming, what game do you think I watched first? Now
I feel like there's an answer that would be an obvious guess, but it may not be right the way you're. I think I remember. So first, I'm gonna share the answer that everyone who knows Layne of my friend group, all these people on Ethan Merritt, this is probably the game they would say.
Yeah.
Lunch Lady.
No,
It was not Lunch Lady.
It was not. Now I
I
don't
know
know
which
the
one.
full
I do
name.
think I know what it is. Oh, I know.
Huh.
Was it 22 Charles?
It was. It was, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh, if he's playing these games, I'm watching all the time.
Because I was terrified.
That was.
It was a train that can go off the tracks and run after you.
So the people that really know me, I kind of like scary, movies and stuff. Jump scares get me the worst.
Yeah.
And the games that you play, it's a bunch of jump scares. So when I was watching the Choo Choo Charlie game, the jump scare happened, and I freaked out. But the best part was seeing you.
Because I freaked out too.
Seeing you jump scare all the time, and I'm like, you know what? It's scary, but I love seeing your reaction, and that's the same thing for Lunch Lady. Lunch Lady, your reactions were outrageous.
That Lunch Lady era was probably the most, to this day, and I hate that this is going to sound weird, but I hate that I didn't have tons of people that could have witnessed it.
Yeah.
That's probably the most humorous sequence of streams I've had.
There is one moment that I will never forget.
Had Prime Noah.
Prime Noah, yes.
That's before Noah stopped playing those games.
Do you not play anymore?
No. But he was...
Do you remember? I'm telling you, every time when he's scared, he laughs like Goofy. And I could not think that. It was just, okay, when he gets scared, he's just another Goofy. But yeah, there's one moment that I'll never forget, and it was, I don't know when it was. You were playing Lunch Lady with the boys, and you were so close to your, was it 100 subscriber?
Oh,
You had a big goal, and
yeah.
hey, if I hit this, I was going to do a 24-hour stream.
That's the 100 followers.
And you were like in the 90s, and no one would gift any sub. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start this, because Zero was part of the stream as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we started talking to each other, off stream, and we're like, hey, we're going to let him get the 100 tonight. And he was like, Oh, so we're just gonna just pay $10 just out of our pocket to help him out. I'm like, absolutely. So it was just one by one by one, and I can just see your reaction of just, oh yeah, another subscriber, thank you very much. And then you got to like the 95, and you're just, it
I
keeps
know. And
going
I
up,
was
and
like,
you're like,
I'm
hold
actually
on,
about to have
hold
to go
on.
24 hours.
Gosh, I still remember
And then
that.
it was the craziest 24 hours. I've done 3. And then I might have another one planned. It's planned. I just haven't announced it.
Now you haven't
I'll tell you
lasted.
off stream, off
You,
the podcast.
you
But
haven't
I've,
streamed
I've
a
never stayed.
full.
I have streamed. My last one, my stream went 24 hours, but I fell asleep. I slept on the floor. Right there, actually.
You got to get, if you had people with you
If I did, yeah. Remy
to
says I gotta have a full 24 hours I'm awake on stream.
absolutely, because I think when you were stream those other 2 streams, I think you're by yourself, so you're trying to just stay awake by yourself and trying to keep yourself up instead of having other people, you know.
Yeah. But you know what the trick is for 24-hour streams?
Hmm.
You need, like for me, at nighttime, I'm tired. When it's dark outside
That
and the
gets
whole world's asleep. So the best time to do it is to start at night. Like say you start at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
or 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then the only time you're actually going through the night is that first wave of it.
Mm.
That first 12 hours where you're like still cracked.
I wonder
Then
if
when you cross 12, you're like, oh, I'm starting to slip.
I wonder if you need to like train yourself before the 24-hour, like start sleeping. Well,
You take a nap.
Yeah, take a nap, or if it's like during the weekend or something,
Yeah.
just start sleeping during the day, and then you're up all night, so you can just make yourself get used to being up at night, so the stream wouldn't be too hard. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you got a job and stuff, and weekends only 2 days, so.
Well, like I said, I'll tell you about it after this episode, but I got one planned. And it's going to be legendary.
Your,
might-
your first one was up there.
To be fair, yes, with the whole power going out.
It was during the ice
Ice
storm.
storm.
Yep.
But this is the only teaser I'll give. And Ethan Merritt's going to kill me because he's kind of a part of it. He's helping me out. It's going to be at like 2 locations. The stream will never stop. And I'll be at 2 different locations.
So it's kind of like an IRL type of thing.
Mixed in. But the stream will never turn off.
Okay.
Anywho, today we're hanging out with Layne, talking on this episode. Make sure if you enjoy this episode, leave a like.
Absolutely.
Comment down below how awful of a job we did, and I'll make sure he never sees it. But thank you, Layne, for coming on.
Absolutely.
It's been long awaited.
Absolutely.
We have been friends for a bit, but we've been really good friends for a bit too, like
Yeah.
thick and thin.
Oh, more
Thick and thin.
Oh man, this last year was definitely something.
So when would you say though do you want to say when we met or when we became friends? Because they're technically, the way I remember it, that's 2 different stories.
Yeah.
I'll say the one we met quickly, and we'll talk about when we actually started becoming true friends.
Yeah.
We met at SPR, Colby Boyd.
Okay. Yeah. Because I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking of another memory.
Exactly. Well, see, that's going to be the one you're going to share. Because that's probably the one where we became friends.
Yeah.
But I met you for the first time, Colby Boyd, SPR, which was at least a year before I remembered us becoming real friends.
Yeah.
Because we were at that table next to the basketball goal. Colby was like, this is a guy, tech guy.
Yep.
And then we sat at this table and just chatted.
Yeah. I mean,
about life.
we were kind of at that point. We just chatted. I mean, we weren't really.
We didn't
Buddy,
walk
buddy.
away like friends.
Yeah, it was just more like, hey, I
Acquaintance.
met this cool guy.
Comfortable, yeah.
Yeah. But I still remember my first memory was we didn't chat. It was more name to face, because I think I first put name to face with you October of, you're still around 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so October 2020, November 2020. That was my first month in 747.
Oh, snap. That's before my story.
Yeah. So
The SBR thing.
yeah, because that was 21. That was
Yeah.
spring.
You went farther.
So I love sharing the story. Steve-O, he, I love Steve.
Big Steve.
Big Steve. Man, I love that guy. He introduced me to 747, and we got in there, and then he introduced me to the feelings, Austin and Aaron, and
Goats.
oh, absolute goats. And that was those three was that was their life group. They had a really small life group, and they wanted me to be a part of it. And I'm like, absolutely. And there was one night. I don't think it was the first night I was there. It was more inside the first month, period. We were all talking. I'm still trying to get comfortable with the guys, and then you came along. I haven't seen you, but you're chatting up with them, and I heard your name was Ethan.
We were with Andy at that time. Like at that exact moment, me, Austin, Steve-O, and Simeon were in a T2 with Andy. That was my first go around with Andy.
Okay, so I thought
If that helps any gaps of how we already knew each other, but like at that exact moment, we were with Andy.
That's pretty cool. But I mean, I'm kind of a guy that if I meet somebody new, now if I'm meeting if I'm meeting a boy, if I'm meeting a guy, just a cool guy,
Yeah.
I can chill. I mean, I can talk to them. For some reason that night, I would just quiet, and I would just listen to conversations. When it comes to girls, man, I mean, I'm so quiet, and you will have to like force words out of my mouth for me to talk to somebody. But that night, I wasn't really talking. It wasn't like I was having a bad night. It's just, I'm still meeting people.
Mm-hmm.
And, you came along. I'm like, okay, that's Ethan. I guess he's, part of the crew, with their friends. And I think I've told you this before. I think I told Sydney as well.
You have.
So
I know where this is.
You leave, and I see you walking over to Sydney. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay, that's probably Ethan's sister. Because I'm telling you, I don't know if it's just me. Y'all two look exactly alike. I mean, y'all could easily go as brother and sister. So, when did you propose to Sydney? Was that December of 21? Or was it that following December? Because y'all got married 23, May of 23.
It was December of 21.
Okay. So, from October of 2020 to December of 21, because you proposed to her Christmas Eve.
Yep. Literally days before, a week before 2022.
That period, I thought, even though I've seen y'all two around all the time, in my mind, my stupid mind, I'm thinking, man, I wish me and my sister were like that. I mean, these two are just, they're close. I mean, they're chatting along. There wasn't, I mean, it would have gave it away if y'all were like,
We're also
holding hands.
we're not just the biggest PDA people.
No, so y'all were just around each other a lot, and I was like, man, I wish me and my sister were like that. Like in a jealous way, I'm like, man, I mean, they're so happy with each other.
Addy, do better.
I'm like, come on, Ad. Shout out, Addie, I love you. But then the post came out, and man, I felt so stupid. I'm like,
Your world was rocked.
Over a year of thinking that you and Sydney were brother and sister, and then come to find out that y'all were actually together, and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't go over to them and ask some type of sibling question or a stupid question or just a stupid question in general. But yeah, I'm glad I just kept my mouth shut and didn't say anything. But yeah, I mean that's my first memory, and then I think my memory of us, actually, I think when we actually chatted was January of 2022, because that day, Steve and I were going to Williams to watch a basketball game.
Y'all came and watched one with me.
Yeah.
Or you sat right behind me.
We sat right behind you.
Front row, baby.
And from when I put name to face to that moment, we chatted, SPR and maybe some other times, but didn't really chat. We just, talked a little bit and carried on. But that day, we were sitting behind you, and I'm like, hey, there's a moment that we can actually.
That's when we started cutting up.
Yeah.
And talking stuff. And then it was that August. So from January to August, we were comfortable friends.
Yeah.
That's just like, I would say like, Layne's my friend. If Layne texted me, was like, you want to go do this with us? I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was August.
It was August.
When we got with Andy.
Yeah.
My round 2, your first time, T2 meeting every week, being together.
Yeah.
That's when the brotherhood was formed.
Oh, absolutely.
Thick and thin.
Me, you, Steve-O and Cam, and Andy, Daddy Banana.
Daddy Banana, who is going to be the next guest on this podcast. So make sure you are ready for that. Daddy Banana, the goat.
I don't think Andy could do better than me. I think I'm already.
Clip it. Clip it.
I think I'm already the goat over here. So
He's already. I shouldn't be giving much away because he's very excited about it. He's like, I'm calling everybody. I'm calling Ninja. I'm calling Speed. I'm calling Kai Cenat out.
hey, I mean, he can do all of that, but I mean, he's not like me. I mean, just like Kendrick says, not like us, but he's not like me. So, I mean, only thing that if he can top me, he has to come in here during the podcast with a banana suit and say, "I am Daddy Banana." After that, if he does that, I'll give him number one. Until
We
then,
got podcast beef.
I
Gotta be
mean,
settled.
hey, I can
Balls in
easily.
your court, Andy.
Hey, we can do you in the middle, and I'm sitting right there, and you can have Andy right here, and we can just beef. We can just go at it.
We are not stopping until we square this thing out.
Man, I love Andy. He's a cool guy.
He really is. But dude, we've been friends a while, and you know we're not gonna go crazy, but like the ups and downs, we've had a lot of highs, we had a lot of lows.
Yeah.
When you had your wreck, but
Oh yeah.
and like that was, I think I'd known we were such close friends, but when you had that car accident, that was probably like the moment where it was like I really just showed it differently. I guess I
Yeah.
felt it differently.
Because
When I heard, I stopped stream, dude, and I was like, we got to get in the car and
see,
go.
I remember when I got back home from the hospital. By that time, I think you had maybe a couple streams in or a few streams in,
Yeah.
from there, and I watched them back, and I remember just a little bit of it, towards the end of, I think you're playing a game, playing with the guys, and I think Sydney called you.
Steve-O.
It was Steve-O. I thought it was Sydney.
Maybe it was.
I don't know.
Steve-O called either, I'm going to be honest, either Sydney called and I didn't answer, then Steve-O called, or Steve-O called, I didn't answer, then Sydney called.
But someone called.
Or Steve-O called me and then called me again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been it.
But you had to, step out and come back in, tell everybody like, hey,
I was like, I gotta go.
something, yeah. And then I think you addressed it, next stream. But because you went, Steve-O, Cam, Jonathan.
So me, Cam went day one. Steve-O went day one too, but he beat me there.
Okay.
Steve-O called me and was like, I'm getting in the car right now and going. I'm like, I was overwhelmed. I was like, I gotta tell Cam, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, I'm going.
Yeah.
And he went.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and Cam went. We probably passed I probably passed Tivo when he was coming back on the interstate.
Yeah.
We were there. We were there about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hanging out with TJ.
Oh, no T, no dad.
And then the next day, literally the next day, I came back with Steve-O and Jonathan.
Yeah. See, I don't. I've heard it. I've heard all these stories, and don't really remember it. Cause I mean, I don't remember some things, but yeah, I mean, Mom has told me that y'all came, and honestly, I was like, really? Because in a way, I felt these guys, came all the way to Memphis to check on me, because I mean, we were, like you said, we were bros.
We were close.
We were close. But by that time, I didn't really have anybody that was like, that would do that. It was more like, a text here and there or a call, and like, hey, I hope everything's, good and stuff. I've been praying for you. But I didn't really expect anybody to drive up. And then I heard the news, and I'm like, man, I got some bros with me.
Well, it's like, I mean, it's just one of those moments you hate when they show up, but with all friend groups, like you have all the talk.
Yeah.
Like, like I got your back thick and thin, we're this and that, but like sometimes you gotta walk the walk, you gotta show it. It's like, all right, it's time to step up. And we were like, oh my gosh. And I didn't even hesitate. It was not a hesitation. It was not a should I go, should I not? It was just like, I'm going. When am I going?
I still remember when I got back from home, you were streaming, and I'm like,
I did it just for you.
well,
I streamed.
Was it the next?
lot.
No. Yeah, you streamed a lot. But when I got back home, I think it was after. Maybe it was after the ICU or after this when I went back the second time. But no, it was the ICU because I think I was there for a couple weeks. Maybe.
I just know I planned one because I knew you were going to be watching.
Okay. Well, I think the reaction that you made was like you were not expecting me at all.
Then it was the next stream that
I popped in and I said, hey guys, what I missed. and you went insane. And then I think I think you were laughing, you got tearing up, and just he's actually, because I think that was the first time that you actually heard from me since the wreck. Because you've heard updates.
Your
Um,
mom had sent some,
yeah.
and like I said, I went, but once you had gotten home, I could only imagine like how overwhelmed a lot of it was.
I lost. I
And
mean,
so like
yeah.
one, you might not even. I didn't know how conscious you were in and out of it when you were at home.
Oh, I have some crazy stories that do not need to be on this podcast.
Exactly.
That happened in the ICU that involves Steve-O.
Well, my point is, I knew I could text you, but who knows when.
Yeah.
So I just, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
When he's capable, I'll check back in
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And then I even came over to your house.
Yeah,
Me and Colby.
you and Colby, yep. Because he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna get you some food. What you want?" I'm like, "I don't care." And he's like, "Well, we're at Zaxby's. And, you want me to get you something?" And I think like shortly after you asked me about lunch as well, and I'm like, I mean, if you and Colby didn't ride together, did y'all?
No.
Because I think no, because I think y'all two came separately.
We
He
met
asked,
at the Zaxby's.
yeah, he asked about lunch, and then you asked me again. I'm like, uh, Kobe's
Well,
already got me lunch.
what happened was we were already going to get lunch, me and him. And then
Oh,
he
yeah, I
was
remember that.
like on his own thing, like, I'm meeting Ethan for lunch. I'm going to pick Layne something.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm meeting Colby for lunch. I'm going to pick something up for Layne. And
Hey,
then we both shared at the table, like, we both text you.
by that period, I was, I lost about 20 pounds from the wreck, and I needed to eat. So I probably would not care at all if I
We
had
both brought it.
if I had 2 boxes of chicken fingers right in front of me. I would probably eat it all. But yeah, that was definitely something. But I've told you many times, but during that time, just appreciated everything that
Yeah.
you've done. With you and Steve-O and Cam and
Yeah, we had to walk the walk,
many
dude.
others. So
I do it 100 times over.
yeah.
I don't want it to
Oh,
have to do it 100 times
oh
over.
no. I mean that's
But I
something
did it
that
100 times over.
that's something I don't want to ever experience again. But it's definitely been a road. I mean, I got to deal with some issues here and there from it still, but majority of the stuff is gone and over with now.
Yeah, you still got a long enough life ahead where
Yeah.
some of those issues will settle out.
Oh yeah.
And you'll have more years without them than you did with them.
It still scares me to drive by the curve, and it's been almost a year and a half, and I still get frightened all the time. And in my mind, even though the tire marks are not there, I can physically see the tire marks. Like because you know when when we got back home, I don't know if mom was thinking this or not, but we had to go by the curve instead of like somewhere else. And that we can still see glass on the road, we can still see the tire marks and stuff. And since I saw that, that's just in my brain every time when I go at the curve, which now I'm fine. I mean, mentally I'm good, but by that time I was messed up. And I mean like
Took a lot of healing, not just physically.
mm, I mean therapy for months. Many times that when you and Kobe came over, you probably acted like, when you saw me, you probably thinking, oh, Layne's doing all right. He's doing good. But when y'all left, I was back to just screaming and yelling. But it was a bad time, very, very bad time. But, I'm just very thankful that I'm still here because anybody else, they would probably not be here. But just because I turned left to avoid an accident, just a millisecond, here I am. If I didn't turn, if I didn't do anything, it would be a complete head on, probably out the window or out the windshield and be dead. But just because I turned left during my video, I was watching the video earlier on. I turned left real quick. Because I turned left, I'm still here.
That's crazy.
So pretty cool how God, works things.
Exactly. And now you're here on the XP
Here I am,
Zone.
Mom. I mean, maybe that's why God is here. God put me here. It's like, hey,
No.
you know what? You're still gonna be alive because one day you're gonna be on the XP Zone.
No, there's bigger moments. There's bigger moments than this.
Hey, not my eyes.
Well, you know that this is a gaming podcast.
Absolutely.
And so, but it's open. I mean, it can be any type of game. I could bring on somebody and talk about board games. I mean, it's a gaming in general,
Yeah.
but this is something we ask each guest. That's one of my favorite questions to ask because it just allows to kind of like hear a personal story of it.
Mhm.
But when were you like first introduced to gaming? And like when was the first time you experienced it? Maybe first game you played? Just like when did Layne Hedge first find out like what a game was, a video game?
I mean, I wasn't really a big gamer when I was a kid. Um, it was more because by that time my dad was always drilling to me for baseball because baseball is my thing. That's the sport I love. So instead of gaming, it was going outside and practice all the time. And then it got to the point that I don't know, I was maybe 13, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it was earlier than that. I don't know, but there was a there was an Xbox 360 that one of my family members were selling, and I was telling mom, I was like, all my friends have one. I mean, I want to, play as well. And she's like, okay, I'll buy one for you. And it was just cheap. Um, so we get hooked up, and of course, I'm like, what game do I need to buy? Um, of course, it took me forever. I don't know why. I should have just had a game like that. For some reason, my dad, even though it was my Xbox, he decided to get a game for himself so he can play at night. If I have
Mm-hmm.
school or whatever, and he got Modern Warfare 3. I never heard anything like this. I'm like, what is this game called? It looks like a war game, whatever. And back then he played with his buddies like on the live parties or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and he would be late, up late at night playing that with his guys. And um,
Your Xbox.
yeah, my Xbox, not his,
Come
but
on, man.
I mean I'm over here. I mean it's my Xbox, man. But just like my dad always says, what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine. So I don't get it. It's kind of like a married type of deal. I don't know.
There you go.
But he I think it was like one weekend that he had to work, and I mean I had nothing to do. Um, but he, I was wanting to play a game. I mean, by that time still didn't have a game. I still didn't decide what game to get. Um, I mean, I think by that time I had like back then it was like MLB 2K12 or whatever. It was like a bunch of 2K games, sports related. But I was like, I want to try this game out. And the moment I started playing it, I loved it.
Modern Warfare
Even
3.
though I was my parents, I love them dearly, I do, but they were like, you are a young kid, you do not need to see or to play this type of game. It's shooting games, killing people. It was more like people 18 and older needs to be playing that game, and you're 12 or 13. And I'm like, I mean, it's a cool game though. I mean, it's fun.
Soldiers. War.
And honestly, the first thing that I did was the campaign. Did not multiplayer, not any special ops mode. It was campaign because I never knew what a campaign was. And then it started doing the story, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's more of a storytelling, mode. And I think as 13-year-old, probably that one weekend, I finished the campaign, and I'm like, I love it. I want to get this game. And I want to play it. Other types of shooting games and war games.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, mom hated it. Dad didn't care. I mean, it was more like more games to play with the guys.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean
And you
that.
played the third one of all things first.
Yeah, I think by that time that was probably the newest one available.
That or Black Ops 2.
Yeah, that was my second one. That was
So,
that
yeah.
was the next game I got because Dad got the Modern Warfare 3. I was like, you know what? I ain't gonna let Dad buy all these Call of Duty games. I want to buy some and play some. And Black Ops 2 was mine.
Which is
Um,
considered probably the greatest Call of Duty ever.
Hands down. I don't think there's a close. I mean, Modern Warfare 3 might be a close second. It might when it comes to campaign
Yeah.
storytelling. There is so many, so many campaigns that I can just
But Black Ops 2 is one of the only ones that you made like decisions.
yeah.
You made decisions that impacted who lived, who didn't in the game.
That's why it's number one. And
That's cool.
and plus, I mean, when I haven't even played Black Ops 1 yet, so I don't know about Mason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Woods. Um, I
None
don't
of
know.
their origin
I
story.
don't know their origin story. So
I can
like,
only imagine playing Modern Warfare 3, not having played Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2.
it was more like, okay,
What's going on?
who's this price guy? This soap guy looks cool, but why is he on the table about to die? I don't know. I mean, I
And then you
got
play as Soap in the first one. Captain Price is an OG legend.
well, yes. So yeah, you play as soap with the first one, and then on the second one you play.
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot.
I don't know, but you play alongside.
Yeah.
So, but you didn't know it was soap because it started out saying Captain McTavish.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas first game, you never knew what his real name was. So Modern Warfare 2, you're playing along this guy. It's pretty cool, and then it gets to the point that you rescue Price from prison, and then Price says Soap, and you're like, oh my gosh, I was playing alongside Soap this whole time. But yeah, Modern Warfare 3, Gold, Black Ops 2. I mean, that's for sure number one. There's other ones I like. Campaign wise.
So you'd say Black Ops 2 is your favorite campaign?
Yeah.
Which one's your least favorite?
So it is the new Modern Warfare 3 because of one thing, and it got to me hard. So the old one, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where Soap actually dies, and he's on top of the tower with the Yuri guy. That big explosion, and then he dies later on. So by that time, everybody knows that's how he dies. Then you play the new Modern Warfare game, and yet you're at the very end. I mean, I liked it. I mean, it was fine. I mean, by that time, it was a game that I can easily play again, or a story I can easily play again. But then all of a sudden, he dies a different way, and instead of a building, he dies in like in a train station, and Makarov shoots him in the head. And my mind went, that's not how he dies. Why is there another way that he dies? So like mine's more like everything has to line up. All these storylines that you mentioned back in early 2000s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
These new games, it has to line up with that. You can't make a new storyline or whatever because it's not going to make sense. So for me, I was confused. I'm like, that's not how he dies. Why do they make it like that? Basically, that's kind of the only reason why I don't like it. It's just Soap's death. It's not the same death that he did back in the old Modern Warfare 3. Why do they change it? They probably have a better reason. I mean, I'm just a guy that playing it. But I mean, that's not great because of that. I wasn't a big fan of Infinite Warfare.
Really?
I wasn't big. I wasn't big on the whole space ordeal.
So you didn't like the space, but did you like the story? Because I actually like the story.
Yeah. It's been a while since
it was like one of those. All main characters die to like save the day at the end.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that one was pretty cool. I thought Black Ops 3 had a pretty bad one.
Yeah, I didn't like that as
weird
the
space. Like it was like different out of body experience type stuff.
I wasn't big on that.
I thought Advanced Warfare had a good one.
I really liked Advanced Warfare.
That was complex. Different stages.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
On the run.
I was not really expecting who's that guy? I mean, the Kevin Spacey.
I don't remember the name.
But
Irons.
Yeah, something Irons, and I wasn't really expecting him to turn. Now in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, he might turn because
once I saw it, it made sense.
Yeah, it made sense. I mean, but before I was like,
that caught me off guard. I was like, oh my god.
But I did like that. I really like, and the graphics. Oh my gosh, that was probably one of the first games that the graphics were like really like on point, and I was like, that's pretty cool. It's a more realistic look than anything.
It was the new Xbox.
Yep.
Did you play it on the Xbox 360 or Xbox One, or PlayStation 4, whatever?
No, it was Xbox One. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I played on, because it came out, and I knew I was getting an Xbox One for Christmas. And so I did not buy it when it came out. I waited till Christmas because I was like, I'm just going to buy it for the new console.
Yeah.
And An underrated Call of Duty campaign that I love was not modern, World War II.
I like that one too. I
That
really
one was
did.
actually, I'm not saying it's like amazing, but it's
Yeah,
underrated.
yeah.
It's like it's
It's
not bad.
definitely my top. If with all the Call of Duty games, it's mid. I mean, it's really good because there's a lot of games that are really good.
Hmm.
That's probably middle of the pack, more upper, more higher than others. But the one that's really underrated and a lot of people hate it, Call of Duty Ghost.
I'm a huge Call of
Really?
Duty Ghost campaign fan.
Okay, so a lot of people hate it for
I
some
I
reason.
think there could have been a second one.
That was why I loved it so much because the ending of you think you kill Rourke and all of a sudden
Hmm.
now here's the story behind this. So the first time I played it, I already had the 360 and stuff, so I was 15, 16, some around that area, and I started playing it, and at the very end, you supposedly kill Rourke, and then you're on
On that
that.
train, I think.
Yeah, it like goes under or something. Think you drowned him, and then you as Logan and and then Hesh, the brother.
Yeah.
You're on this like beach top, and you're just sitting there,
And
and
the
everything
bombs are going
bombs are
on.
going off, and by that point my controller's down. I'm not moving
I was
anything.
expecting credits.
I was expecting that too. Well, I think it showed credits, and then it went back to the scene. So I'm thinking, okay, something else is going to be popping up. It literally, I was there for 10 minutes, did not do anything, and I'm expecting something to come out, and I'm thinking, is there? Am I missing something or whatever? And then I accidentally flicked my controller, and the head moved, and
That's what triggers the next
that's
scene
when you have to make yourself, move for Rourke to come out. Because if you don't, you're just going to sit there and just look and
for
do nothing
hours.
for hours. Um, so
I did the same thing.
I actually flicked it. Rourke came out, and
Hauls Logan away.
yeah, and then Hesh is screaming for him. Um, but what really made me think there was a second one was when the very very end, like after the credits, you're in the hole where
Hmm.
Rourke was in. That really made him into a different person. And you as Logan, you're in the hole. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a second one. They're gonna make it, Hesh and his
Goes and
crew
gets him.
versus Logan, his own brother, and Rourke. And it's been rumored for years of college of a Ghost
I
2.
wouldn't give up on it,
Oh, I wouldn't. I mean,
but it has
I'm
been.
really expecting like a. I mean, I think because of the reviews that the first one got, I think some people might be happy, but I think a lot might be like, seriously, a second one? I mean, the first one sucked, so why are they making a second one? But the campaign, man, it was
It was good.
that
It was
that
fun.
that's my top five. That's in my top five, and for it to be my top five, it's dang good. It-
I think my top five instantly, all three first three spots are Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3.
yeah,
Honestly, in that order.
yeah.
I thought
I mean, yeah.
the story as itself was flawless,
Mm-hmm.
but I still thought, as their own individual games,
Mm-hmm.
the OG Modern Warfare 4, COD 4, was the best one.
Yeah.
Then I thought the second one was the second best, and third was the third.
Mm-hmm. I don't think
I
that's
forgot what it's called, but that Gilly mission on the first one with Captain
oh
Price when he's like a rookie,
yeah,
and
and
you're like,
they're on top of that
that's like
building.
one of the coolest ones. You're like walking through the field, laying down, they're like walking right by
You
you.
know, it took me a good while because there's a point that the villain of the story, it comes out and you have to shoot his arm, but there's wind involved and you can't just shoot him straight.
Mm-hmm.
It took me about a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes
Hit that shot.
to hit the shot because all the time it would miss or it would hit his head and it would just instantly kill him, and you can't do that. You just have to shoot him in the arm. So I have to just perfectly hit him in the arm, but there's wind involved, and I just couldn't do it. So it was retry after retry, and I was just getting ticked off about it. I'm like, I can't do it. How in the world can you do it? And I think just one time I would just randomly do it and did it, and it shot him in the arm. Like, thank God it's finally over. But yeah, I love it. I love that. That's 1, 2, and 3 are in my top five. Again, I don't think Black Ops 2 can get can be any lower than one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good.
And come to find out, the decisions. I love that. I love that there's different,
Mhm.
results, different endings to the story.
Kill Menendez or take him in.
Yep. You can kill Menendez. Um, I think there's kill Menendez, or you can kill or injure Alex Mason, or you can kill Harper, or you can decide to shoot Menendez and come to find out that Fareed, we were playing as Fareed, you get killed by Menendez. So
Mhm.
I mean, there's different avenues that you can take. Um, that's pretty cool, and I love the. I think the one thing I didn't like about Black Ops 2 was if you got to the point of that mission to kill Mason. Of course, Frank Woods didn't know that it was Mason. It was
Mhm.
thinking it was Menendez. Um, there's that option that you can shoot him in the head and he's for sure dead, or you can shoot him anywhere else and he lives. More in the leg if he lives.
It doesn't make it clear.
At the very end, is that what you're talking about?
I'm saying like in the moment.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't, unless I'm wrong, I don't remember something telling me like head or this. It's
No,
just like you just see him through the scope.
yeah. It doesn't give you any option.
You
So
have no thought of I should not shoot him in the head.
yeah, it's. I mean, if you're thinking, if it's Menendez,
Yeah, it's like
and
kill
just,
shot.
I mean, and it's right there.
Yeah.
Your number one go to is shoot him in the head, kill
Hmm.
him. I mean, for sure, kill him. And then if you shoot him in the leg, and Menendez dies, um, Alex Mason comes out and meets Woods
That
at
kind
the
of scene.
at the nursing home. Um, and then later on, it shows section Mason's son finally meeting Alex,
Hmm.
his dad, for the first time in like years. Because Section thinks that his dad's dead. He doesn't know the story behind it
That moment.
until Woods finally told him what actually happened to his dad. But the ending was, I think Alex was like, um, "Do you remember?" I think it was like, "I'm happy. I'm proud of the man that you are because of that scar on your hand." And it kind of cuts back to him as a kid falling off the tree,
Hmm.
and he replies back, "But Dad, I just fell." And then Alex says, "But you got back up." And then it ends, and I'm like, nothing else, not like where I've this is where I've been for the past
Yeah.
whatever, or there's nothing more. It just ended like that, and I'm like, anything else, anything
Yeah, that's
more?
a significant moment because of how it dropped. I mean, I knew exactly where you were going with that.
Hmm.
But you got back up.
And
I can
then,
hear that right now in my head.
do you know that? And I think you do. They're rumored to have like a remastered version of that in like this year,
That'd be so nice.
because it was the the current time in that
Hmm.
game was in 2025,
Yeah.
so it would be this year. um so I've been like, it's like heavily rumored like they might, it just might be like a remastered version, kind of like Modern Warfare 2 and 1. Nothing big. But they're like, well, since it happened in 2025, let's just do a little remaster for the fans, and make a another Call of Duty 1 a couple years from now. But if they do that, gosh, I'll probably be the first one to buy that sucker. I don't care how much it costs, because you can't really play it on. I mean, if I want to play Black Ops 2, I have to bring out my old 360
Yeah.
to play that game, and I don't even know where that sucker's at. So basically, if I want to watch some clips of the game, I have to go on YouTube and watch like a campaign walkthrough that
Just
someone
to
else is
see it.
playing. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'll probably have to say like Black Ops 2, number one, like in order: Modern Warfare 3 at 2, Modern Warfare 2 at 3,
Yeah.
and 1 at 4, Ghost of 5.
I like that top five.
Yeah.
Now, this kind of hints at the next topic. Are any of these your favorite games? Like overall, your favorite game?
Like not campaign, but just overall game.
I mean, like in all genres.
Oh no.
Are any of these the top of your list of your favorite game?
No.
What is your favorite game of all
Oh,
time?
it's MLB The Show.
Which one?
Any of them. I mean, they're coming out with the 25 one, and I think like the digital package was like 119. I'm like, it's a lot, but it's worth it. So let's go ahead and get that done.
When did you start playing sports games?
Oh man, I mean it was around, again, my first game was Modern Warfare 3. Um, I think the first game that I actually purchased with the Modern Warfare 3 was, I think it was one of like the older MLB 2K games, because
Hmm.
back then it was like a 2K 11 or 2K 12 or 2K 10 or whatever. Um, Back then there was an Xbox version and then there was a PlayStation 3 version, because MLB The Show was originally, it was still PlayStation.
Yeah, it was
Um,
only PlayStation for the longest time.
yes. So um, there was a 2K that you can play on Xbox, or there's the Show that you can play on PlayStation. I didn't have a PlayStation, so the things that I can play were 2K ones. There wasn't really a difference. It was just, I mean, I can't play the other one.
Hmm.
And then it quit around 13 or 14. And after that, I mean, again, I didn't have a PlayStation until, early on into my college years. So for years, I didn't play baseball, like a baseball game. So I had to go back to my old, Xbox 360 to play 2K14. I think that's the last one. And, graphics weren't great at all, but it was just a baseball game. And I played it all the time until I finally got a PlayStation 4 for Christmas. And I'm like, I can finally play a baseball game that's realistic now.
Hmm.
And I think that was 2K, or not 2K, but it would be the show 19. It had
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper on it.
Yep, that's the first one I ever got.
Really?
I didn't play like any baseball game before that though,
Yeah.
but I was just in the mood. And Bryce Harper was one of my favorites
Oh, I love Bryce.
growing up because I played. I'm not a huge stud of an athlete, but when I
Ah.
played baseball, I threw right-handed and I batted left,
Oh, yeah.
just like Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, and at that time he was like peaking nationals.
hmm
So I was like, yeah, he's my favorite.
I think
So when he was on the cover, I bought it. And then he got traded he signed with Phillies.
he got traded to Philly.
Apparently out there's some graphic made for the cover in the Nationals gear.
Really?
And some
I
people, it's like a rare collectible. You can actually, someone has it, like a cover where he's in Nationals jersey.
I would like to see that,
I know, I might look it up after.
because
But
yeah.
because the game everyone gets is his Phillies debut.
Right, absolutely. I think by that time when it got released, he was like recently traded to the Phillies, so they had to change everything real quick to make it a Phillies jersey instead of a Nationals one.
It's like, who else? What other sports game was that like that? NBA 2K18.
Was that?
Kyrie Irving.
Yep,
Kyrie Irving was going to be on the cover.
yep,
And there were actual copies that people bought off the shelves,
yeah. I remember
like
that.
pre-ordered
Mm-hmm.
Cavaliers.
Yep,
Then he went to Boston, and they
right.
switched it to Boston.
Yeah, yeah. Kyrie, he was way better at Cleveland than he was at Boston. I mean,
He's doing all right in
he
Dallas right now.
he's doing all right. I mean, but for some reason, after he left Boston, every game that he goes to Boston, that's like his kryptonite. He cannot perform good at all, because I mean, he basically left Boston. He told the fans like, "Hey, I'm here because like I want a championship here. I want to
Mhm.
bring a championship here, and I'm not leaving until we I bring a championship here."
Goes to the Nets.
And then he goes to the Nets, and that's why everybody in Boston hates Kyrie Irving, because he promised them something and didn't do anything about it. So every time they boo him loud, there's a I remember one game that Kyrie had enough and he flipped off the fans. So like he has hatred for Boston because of how the fans are treating him, which
They hate him because of how he left them.
exactly. So I mean, you can't really blame the fans. I mean, you promised them something, you didn't do it. So I mean, if you promised me something and you left, I'm not gonna like you either. So I mean, I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's okay, bud. We'll just have somebody else do it for us, which later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, MLB The Show was early on, or like 2K was my first one, and then I started playing uh college football like
I knew you'd be a college football guy.
10, college football 11, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think my very first one was had RG3 on the cover, and ever since then I loved it. And I was big on college football when I was a kid as well. You know, it
And
was
then by about time you got started with it, they stopped.
yeah, it was. I think there was like two more years of college football, and then it stopped. And of course, I'm like, why aren't they doing a college football 15 or whatever?
Bro, you were. It was you. You were the curse.
Sorry,
You started playing 2K baseball, they shut it down.
they're like,
You start playing college football, they shut it down.
You know what? I guess I just need to stop gaming just in general. Okay, because
Don't let Layne start playing your favorite game.
well, I mean, I'm like, now I kind of feel bad for the show because that's my go-to game, and I hope nothing happens to the show now.
Well, you probably, honestly, if you got a PlayStation on the Bryce Harper one, you got a PlayStation to play the show, and then what? 3 years later, it goes to Xbox too.
Yeah, so it was. Let's see, it was Bryce was fully PlayStation. I think the next year was Javi Baez from the Cubs. He was PlayStation, and I think the next year was Shohei, and that was when the Shohei cover came out. I don't know what year it was. That's when they switched. So I was basically like 2 years in with PlayStation, and then it came back to like PlayStation and Xbox, and I'm like,
Honestly, I
really?
mean, yeah, but at the end of the day, you got 2 years of playing the show.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mean, it's worth because I've been waiting for years for to get a PlayStation so I can finally play baseball again instead of playing the same 2K14 game all the time. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, these guys don't even play on this team anymore. This guy's like David Ortiz. By that time, by the new game came out, he was already retired, but he was still with the Boston Red Sox playing. I was still playing as him, and I'm like, I'm ready for a more
Yeah,
realistic kind of game. But yeah, it was mainly MLB The Show or
college
baseball
football,
game, college football,
some 2K.
some 2K. I think my first one was um, it was the LeBron James Miami Heat. So I think 2K11. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I played 2K a lot when I was a kid. Not as much now. I think every now and then I'll play it, and then every now and then I'll play Madden as well. So
Not a FIFA guy.
not a FIFA guy. Even video game watching soccer, I'm just not really into it. Now
I played one FIFA game.
you have,
It was fun.
yeah. I mean,
I've never played. I didn't enjoy it enough to go buy another one.
yeah.
It's not even FIFA anymore.
I'll take that back. I had a buddy of mine when I was in school that was a huge soccer fan, and he had some type of FIFA game. Again, I never played it before, and he just wanted me to play with him. And I'm like,
Mm.
sure. I mean, I don't know the controls. I'll just run around or whatever. And I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, one, I don't like soccer. I mean, I never really get into soccer. I've tried before to get into a soccer game and like soccer. Can't really get into it.
Not your thing.
Now, I love tennis. I
Really?
absolutely love tennis. And I hate that around this time because they got finished with the Australian Open in Australia maybe a couple weeks ago, and of course when they play, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning here, so I can't really watch tennis until that next morning when the game's already over. Um, but yeah, I think it was during my recovery during the wreck, and I was just so bored that I was just going on YouTube and watching all these videos, and tennis popped up, and I'm like, whatever. For some reason, I just got into it, and now their main. I watch the main ones like your Australian Open when they go to
Yeah.
Australia. They have a French Open that they do at France. Um, I can't say the word, but Wimbledon. That's in
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, yeah. That's in London, and then the U.S. Open in New York.
Yeah.
Those are the four, like the big four.
Mm-hmm.
Now they do a lot of smaller tournaments and events, all across the country,
Yeah.
all across the world. But the big four is what I watch, and the next one's like in May, so I got until May to watch tennis. But it takes forever. It's a long game. There's sometimes a match will be 4 hours long of just dead silence and just people hitting the ball back and forth, kind of like ping pong. Um, but man, it's just for some reason I just get into it.
I know you like watching hockey. Have you ever played NHL?
Yeah,
You don't like NHL?
for some reason I was not even thinking about NHL. Yes, I like NHL hockey. Like playing the game like every now and then. It's kind of like a 2K for
I would
me.
just fight people.
So yeah, there is a time that um, when Grayson was still living in over at college, there's a night, several nights that we'll go out to his apartment and we'll just play NHL 23, 24, and all we'll do is just we didn't care about who wins. It was just hitting each other because it's
Hmm.
fun. That's the best part about
Yeah.
hockey is the fights and the hitting. That's it. We don't really care about who the score and how they scored and all that kind of stuff. People are mainly there for the fights. Um, and basically that's what we try to do every game is just
Yeah.
see if we can fight. And there's a certain way, certain buttons that you can do to punch and stuff. And it was basically like a UFC fight. It was all right. Let's see who wins. We didn't care about the score. It was just let's just fight. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's kind of how I kind of just did it, but I didn't have anyone to play it with. Just kind of did my own thing.
Well, have you do you watch hockey?
No, I don't really want to. I've tried.
Hey,
If it helps you, I've tried.
okay,
Like I've watched some games. Because before y'all, I had a friend in high school who was a huge Blues fan. He
okay,
still is.
yeah,
And he was like, "Come on, dude, you gotta watch it." I tried, and it's the same for soccer for me,
hmm,
and it's the continuous just going
yeah,
and like that low scoring. That's
hmm,
why I like football.
yeah.
That's why I don't watch baseball on TV, but I love watching baseball in person.
Now, have you gone to a hockey game?
No,
That's the reason why. Now, as a Blues fan as well, it's very hard for me to watch the whole game on TV because it's boring. I mean, it's
yeah,
just people skating back and forth, nothing going on. A few hits, a fight or two maybe, but nothing. It's always low scoring, nothing exciting except for a fight. Um, but there was a time that I was trying to get into hockey too, but I never really enjoyed it until Zero brought me to a St. Louis Blues game. And I was like, man, I'm not gonna enjoy it. I mean, I'm just more of a baseball guy. Let me just, hang out with you guys because back then, I mean, Grayson was a huge Kraken fan, Seattle Kraken, and
is he
he,
not anymore?
oh, he loves Kraken.
I was about to say he jump ship.
Now, I jumped ship because because I was starting out to be a Kraken fan. When I got into hockey, when I was starting to watch hockey, I was watching it with Grayson and Zero, and they were both Kraken fans.
Hmm.
Now Zero is a Kraken and Blues, but he's more Blues than Kraken. Grayson's just fully Kraken, and I enjoyed watching. The majority of the time I watched hockey was with Grayson, so of course I got into Kraken hockey and Kraken players, and I was like, you know what, I'll root for the Kraken. It's kind of like the when we were talking about earlier about the whole
Hmm.
Texans ordeal. Um, but Zero called me and he was like, "Hey man, I got an extra ticket to go to a Blues game if you want to go." I was like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, never been to a hockey game, don't know what to expect. Now I wanted to let you know I'm a Kraken fan. So
Yeah, sure you are.
yeah, I thought um, when when we were going, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy it, but when I leave, I'm still a Kraken fan. I'm not gonna be a Blues fan or whatever." He was like, "Okay, we'll see." And we watched the game. I think we played the Oilers, the Edmonton Oilers that night. We won, and we started leaving. We started walking back to the truck, and he was like, "So what you think?" And I'm like, "I love it. I think that is right below baseball with my favorite sport to watch."
Wow.
Because I was basically baseball number one, football, basketball, and others below it. But it was a huge gap between baseball and football.
Mm-hmm.
But I love football, but baseball. I played baseball for 18 plus years. That was my life. Um, but to have hockey as a close second, that was pretty cool to experience. And he was like, "So, I'm guessing you're still a Kraken fan?" And I'm like,
Sing me the
"Actually,"
blues, baby.
it's like,
Sing me the blues.
Actually, I kind of dig the Blues." And he was like, "I told you, man. You just have to experience one time, and you're a Blues fan." And but at the same time, I'm telling him like I'm ready to know about the Blues, about the Blues players. Get some Blues gear, get a jersey, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dang, Grayson's gonna know, because I'm always that guy. Like,
You know
I hate disappointing people,
Yeah.
and I hate feeling like, even though he probably didn't care. I mean, in later on, he didn't really care. He laughed it on. He laughed it off, and he kind of made like a rivalry for a minute. Like, oh, okay, since you jumped ship, we're gonna make this a rivalry now. Stuff like that. But I had to let him know, and we laughed about it for a minute, and he was like, I don't care. It's a freaking sports team." Um, but yeah, I mean, I had to go one time for me to love hockey. So,
I'll go sometime.
hey, you let me know, and we'll get some great seats, and I'll make you a St. Louis Blues fan.
My boy Tanner, shout out Tanner. He's gonna be happy if that happens.
Hey, we'll make a St. Louis trip to watch some Blues one night, and we'll get you some gear. You don't even have to say that you're a Blues fan. We'll already know that you're a Blues fan after watching the game. So we'll get you a jersey. We'll get you some hoodies and stuff, because once you watch that game at St. Louis, you will leave a St. Louis Blues fan, 100%. Because I was over here like a diehard, not really diehard, but a big fan of Kraken, and to go in as one, but to leave a Blues fan, I'm telling you, it is something else when you watch the Blues. So it's fun.
I don't actually have a team, but like if somebody just were to randomly ask what's a team you carry, like I'd probably just say Avalanche, just because like I'm a Denver guy.
Do not tell Grayson that.
I said it the other day because like I lived in Colorado, and again, like I don't really care about baseball, but like if somebody were to say like right now, gun to your head, you have to pick a team to commit to, it'd be Rockies, just because they're Denver.
Yeah.
Even though they're Colorado, they're in Denver. Same with the NBA. I wouldn't mind to be a fan of an NBA team that I could go to games and all that. And you're probably thinking, bro, you live 45 minutes from Memphis.
Yeah.
I just don't like the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to root for them. So if I picked one, I'd probably be the Nuggets. Before I was like, oh, that's a bandwagon answer. I remember the Nuggets. I lived there when Carmelo, right before he got traded to the Knicks.
Gosh, that was
so
many years ago.
It was a long time. And it's just been this whole thing where it's like, if I'm going to pick a team, it's probably, if I'm going to commit to a sport, the first one that's going to get my attention is the Denver team.
Yeah.
Just because I love the city. I lived there for a year. That's where I became a Broncos fan. The Broncos is the biggest thing. Now, Denver.
Yeah.
Since somebody was like, are you a Colorado Buffaloes fan? That's in Boulder, you moron. No.
Nah, you're a freaking Auburn Tiger
I'm not
fan.
in Colorado
Even worse.
Springs either for state. But no, I've lived in Auburn for a bit. Well, I didn't live in Auburn, but I lived in Montgomery-ish area, 45 minutes from Auburn.
Yeah. That's even worse than being a Denver fan.
Big dude. Big Denver fan.
But yeah, I mean, shoot, I was going to say something. I forgot. It happens.
It carries over into the next point
What?
of we're big sports fans.
Absolutely.
I'm not as big as you, probably, but I've got my fair share. Right now, the game that I've played the most on the last 365 days, and granted, this came out in the summer, is College Football 25, which is a good game.
Yeah.
Do you think, I kind of asked you this to get your mind on this question earlier. Do you think sports games should switch to their game and then update rosters, update jerseys, update maybe a few mechanics here and there?
Yeah.
Like there's a game, League of Legends. League of Legends there's no League of Legends 2.
Yeah.
This game's been around since 2009.
Yeah.
But they still update it.
Right.
They still make it look new.
Yeah.
All that. Do you think sports games should switch to that model? Or do you think they should keep making 2K26, Madden 26, College Football 26, the show 20, whatever?
I think I would like just one game in a way, and then just keep updating over and over
And
and
I have to
over.
pay $70 every year.
Just have one time. That would be great. Um, it's just, you know, like you said. I mean, with League of Legends, it's just one game. It ain't like nothing's changed.
They just keep adding
And
to
just
it,
keep adding it,
improving
and
it.
yep, and keep updating it. Whereas sports, there's different teams, there's different players, there's different this, there's different that. They want to change this, and instead of just having one game, they just like to just do it,
Mm-hmm.
every year. Plus, I mean, with a whole, if when it's huge like it is today, um, it's all about the money.
Yeah.
So, they want to.
More games every year is more money.
Yep. So that's the reason why that they do it. But I personally just want it one time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to pay this amount for the game, and then just keep on updating it. But that's in a perfect world. That's never going to happen. But if I had to pick, it would honestly be just one game. Just keep updating every single year. New jerseys, new stadiums, new players, new graphics, new. If they want to do some new things on the game, just do it instead of just making another one and doing the same thing. It just makes life easier on everybody.
I agree. And some people I've seen say that Call of Duty should do that. But I think that's now Call of Duty now it's practically that. They're all practically the same now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll have, back in the day when it was Modern Warfare, Black Ops, back to back, whatever.
Yeah.
There's Treyarch, Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
Treyarch, Infinity Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And now Infinity Ward drops a game, but Treyarch helps them make it. Treyarch drops a game, and Infinity Ward worked on this.
Yeah.
It's like they're all working together now to where they're all practically the same.
Yeah.
Just different guns, different maps.
Right.
And I do kind of miss that. So to that degree, I wish Call of Duty to go back to more what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like college football, they could just do a huge roster update.
Yeah.
But then again, I will add to this. This will be my defense for the separate games. Right now, my first Madden game I ever played was Madden 12. Peyton Hillis.
Yeah.
And 13 was my first one on the Xbox. I played Madden 12 on the Wii.
I played Madden. Well, I think a buddy of mine played Madden 12 on his PS2. I think I played with him, and it was on his PS2. Had no clue who this Peyton Hills guy was.
Yeah.
And honestly, until like a few years ago, found out he was a Razorback running back.
I didn't even know that.
Didn't even know that. And
A really good one.
As big of a Razorback fan that I am, didn't even know who the guy was.
You had to go in the blender for that.
And I'm like, so you had Darren McFadden, Peyton Hillis, Felix Jones
In the same room.
in same room, same class. That's pretty dangerous. But yeah, for years I was like, who is this Peyton Hillis guy? And kind of find out he was a stud over at Arkansas.
I didn't know you didn't know.
No, I mean, he wasn't a big name. I mean, when I really got into Arkansas sports, it was my teenage years. So I mean, I knew
He's already passed him. He's already in the NFL.
I mean, I knew Darren McFadden. I mean, everybody knows Darren McFadden. I mean, most people know Felix Jones, like the big name
Ryan
guys,
Mallett.
Ron Mallett, Tyler Wilson, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Peyton Hillis wasn't a big name for Arkansas. He was big when he got to NFL for Cleveland that year or two. But he was like that third guy behind Jones and McFadden. Still, I mean, he was still a big guy, a big name, but wasn't as popular as McFadden and Jones.
I guess I kind of lost my spot. Peyton Hillis though, that game, I could put that game in right now, or that Madden 13 with Megatron.
Yeah,
Calvin Johnson. I could put that in right now. See that game, old graphics, old arcade style.
Yep.
Those rosters, and that is kind of cool that you can go back to all of them and be able to see that. I mean, for the longest time, people played NCAA 14.
Yeah.
That's all
I
you
mean, I
had.
mean, they were a college freak, and they're like, "There's no other game that we can play, so let's do this."
And they played it, and for that much time, you got to like see that. So that's kind of cool.
Hmm.
So I guess that's kind of a big thing. I don't know, but overall, I guess I'd stay on your side too. Of like, it'd just be easier.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
update rosters and have a Madden,
yeah, but
have the show.
yeah, I guess
It'll be
it's
the
just,
show.
since it's like a sport related, and you have millions of people watching the sport and stuff,
They're gonna make bank.
they got to make bank. Whereas, I mean, League of Legends is big, but it's
It's
not like
big
it's
internationally.
big internationally. But when
Yeah,
it comes to like country,
North America, United
it's
States.
I mean, it's still big here,
Yeah,
but
it's different.
it's different. So I mean, it sucks that we have to pay. Nowadays it's like 80, 90, $100 for just one game, for for
Hmm.
college football or NBA, Madden, baseball, whatever, instead of just give me just one price and I'll just play it, and then
Yeah,
you just keep updating it every year. Just make it life easier on us, I guess.
it would. Well, dude, we're wrapping up to the end, and this is my favorite because also I know you got something to share.
I do.
But this is our moment of the podcast where we share our final remarks. So anything that you want the people to know about you before we wrap this up, and I know what you're gonna say,
Yeah.
but anything you want to share for the people before we wrap up this episode?
So, obviously me and Ethan were talking about this, but um, I made a, I started a new Instagram page called the Razorback Pulse.
And it will be on the screen. You can see their logo right here.
Just come, just follow, join the crew. Again, like I said, I'm a huge Razorback fanatic. I know everything Razorback now. Football, baseball, basketball. That's just my big three. I read up on it. Love reading articles, doing stats, all that kind of fun stuff. And I've been thinking about doing this for, I don't know, a good year of
Mm-hmm.
just, I want to have a page or possibly a podcast one day, and that's a very good possibility of doing
And
that.
when you start one, I'm going to come be a guest, and
Hey,
I'm going to be the non Razorback fan who lives in Arkansas, and you can hear about my experience.
well, I mean, if I do a podcast, you will probably be my first one, but I'll say this, if you wear your Auburn Tiger stuff, you'll never be on my podcast ever again. I'm kidding. Um, but yeah, I started. I've been thinking about this for a good year, and I was like, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's something that I love to do. So about a week ago, I started doing this, and now it's baseball season. So and it
Mm-hmm.
was basketball season and baseball season. But I'm gonna be posting a lot of updates on basketball. If it's a game day, I put a post out there saying, "Hey, it's game day. We're playing this guy. Here's who to look
Mm-hmm.
out for. During this game." With baseball, it's the same thing, but I kind of tell you, the lineup. I tell you who's going to be pitching,
Yeah.
and after the game's over, I give, um, I kind of give you, the box score, like the final score post, tell you who the big performers were at the game. And I'm thinking about, because with baseball, their series with Washington State ends tomorrow, and I've been thinking about, with every baseball series at the very end of it, I give my take on the series of, hey, this is my overall view, my overall recap of the series, instead of like individual.
Games.
Yep, individual games.
That's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I was like, you know what? Let me just do my post for each game, and then after, on a Tuesday or a Monday night, be like, hey, okay, I'm gonna make a post of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the performers, or the big takes of the series, of what's good, what's bad, what do we need to work on. Um, Not as much as basketball because it's just one game. I can probably do that. Just give them the top performers, but also with that one post, tell my take on it as well. But yeah, started that last week. I think last weekend maybe, and man, I'm having a blast. Never gotten to the social media side of things before. I'm still learning about some things. found out some things as well about Instagram as well that I never knew, or I didn't know about, but didn't really click about the whole copyright ordeal.
Yeah,
Um,
you gotta learn.
gotta learn. But I did make my own graphics on game day stuff,
Hmm.
on box scores, on final scores, stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I've always wanted to be a reporter, an analyst of some kind. Now maybe that's still in the near future. I'm doing other things as well right now, um, but that could be like a little side hustle
Yeah.
that I can do, and when I get home from my 9 to 5 job, that I can start doing that at night. But yeah, just give my takes on baseball stuff, baseball players, basketball stuff. When it goes to the off season, still for football, if there's any big news, I'll post stuff on there.
Recruiting.
Recruiting. When it comes to basketball recruits, I'll do that in off season as well. Same with
Yeah.
baseball. But yeah, check it out. I pretty much post something at least once a day. At not if I can't do that, I'll do it once every other day.
Mm,
But I mean, so far I'm starting well. I mean, I got some a little over 100 followers right now.
that's awesome for only be a week.
Yeah, I mean, I just
I mean, I've had this YouTube channel up for months, and I'm not even at 300.
hopefully one day it can bump up to, we can do like 1,000.
That'd be awesome.
That'll be pretty sick. But yeah, I mean, I know it's going to start off slow. I mean, everything starts off slow, and I hope later on throughout the year it can slowly
Hmm.
more followers and more content and stuff. And I just made a goal like, hey, if I can get all these guys and all these followers in to to all these likes and comments and stuff, if I can get comfortable, I can do a podcast. And it's still going to be the Razorback Pulse, but
Oh
I'll
yeah.
be having this mic. Um, not your mic. I'll have to buy my own unless you want to let me borrow it.
I'll help you find some good ones.
What a guy. But yeah, check it out again. Like you said, on there's gonna be a link on there. Um, and yeah, I mean, just expect if you're a Razorback fan, this is your page.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just gonna I do my best on trying to make people happy when it comes to posting some good stuff, good content. Um, Again, I'm still learning, so there's a lot more things that I can learn from
Yeah.
and get to know.
It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, and you know that as well. I mean, when you start off with something, it starts off pretty slow, but
Hmm.
the more you do, the more you work on some stuff, it gradually gets a little bit better.
Yeah.
So yeah, please check it out. Follow the page. If you have any questions, any news that you want to talk about a certain game, a certain series, a certain player, certain news, whatever, DM me. I will gladly answer any of your questions with the best of my ability. And yeah, again, check it out. Just one more follower on my page, and I promise you won't be disappointed.
Check it out one more time. It's going to be here on the screen, and there will be a link to his Instagram page in the description below. But Layne, thank you so much, man,
Absolutely.
for being on the podcast. It was a banger.
Hey, it was a banger.
It was a banger episode.
I don't think anybody can top me. Maybe so. I don't know. Maybe we can have Daddy Banana come here and dress up as a banana. Who knows? But
He
yeah.
did say he had a banana. I don't know if it's a suit, but he said he's been saving a banana.
Hey, if he brings any type of banana, he'll be number one.
Wow.
But until then, I don't know.
He's going to watch this.
Hey, Daddy Banana, challenging you. When you do this podcast, bring like a bowl full of bananas or bring a banana suit. Do something to tell the audience that you are the capital THE Daddy Banana. That there's no other Daddy Banana. Prove me wrong. I want you to prove me wrong. But until then, I mean, you can be number two. But if you don't do that, there's always going to be me at number one. So there's your challenge. I'm kidding. I love you, Andy. Don't kill me.
I can't wait to see his episode after he sees this.
We're gonna be having like a fight or something. We're gonna do like a little UFC fight one day.
People won't know when this was, but he almost filmed after this episode. Like he was going to come over. tonight and
I'm,
film
I'm
it.
telling you, we should have like a little collab and just me, you, and Andy.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll probably share some T2 stories and stuff like that.
we'll arrange it.
Yeah.
But today, thank you all for tuning into this episode. We hope you've enjoyed. We're at the point of recording this, we're 9 followers away from 300. So if you would subscribe, that'd be absolutely incredible.
Yep.
Let's get to 300. We're going to try to get to 1,000 in the year 2025. So that's our goal.
Yeah.
Is 1,000 in the year 2025. So share it with your friends, share it with your family, all those people who you think would like this podcast. Thank you guys for the support. I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.